in the hood with it. Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding! Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I'm kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel and it's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled and I'm very much so appreciative. I know I couldn't do it without you, so thank you. So I wanted to tell you guys a little story, a little Y.A. story, right? Since a lot of you like to hear about C.Y.A. because it was dangerous. Man, I think back on it every day and it was like, man, I don't know how I survived that shit. I could understand surviving prison, but surviving the youth authority, the California Youth Authority, now that was a whole different bestia right there. That was a different animal, right? But I did it. And, I remember back in them days, if you didn't go to the youth authority, who the fuck were you? That was our saying right there. Like, you should have already graduated to that point, man. Being a gang member on the streets in the 90s, everybody was going to C.Y.A. That was like a rite of passage, right? There was actually, we used to give people hard times. I know when I got out, there was a lot of homeboys. Damn, bro, how was it? How was it? Motherfucker, you should have figured out how it was and got there, right? I needed you. I needed your backup. Where were you? Where were your antennas, motherfucker, when I was over there fighting for my life, right? Bro, someone had to bone the chicks out here. Yeah, I know. Well, guess what? Now, it's my turn. So that's just how that was. But I wanted to tell you guys a story about an incident that happened in Holton, right? Now, when I first went from NRCC, which is the reception in Northern California, to Nellis, I didn't expect to go there, which was in Whittier, on Whittier Boulevard, down south in Southern California. Man, that was not the plan. The master plan backfired, and Governor Pete Wilson at the time, had a plan for Norteños, right? And he decided to throw my ass on the Green Hornet, the Green Goose. Not the Gray Goose, but the Green Goose. Shackle my ass up and throw me down south to really gangbang. And it did. It happened. It happened, man. And after about 3 years of fighting for my life there, I get shipped to Preston. Preston, where you get some cheston, right? And to me, out of all the different C.Y.As that I ever heard of, and there's a few of them, right? Well, not anymore. But Preston was like the one. It was as close to prison as you were going to get, the feel of it. Okay, it was on and cracking. I remember pulling up there in the evening time, being laced up by the homies and like, you're not in Kansas anymore, Toto, right? And so I couldn't click my heels together and get on. It just was what it was. I got handed a pair of state boots, some blues, and let's get it, bro. And at that time, we were going at it with the Perro Chatos, the Bulldogs. So it was like on site. We were just getting on, not really on site, because there was Bulldogs in that building. But in the school areas and any common areas, man, that we ran into each other, it was cracking, right? The Bulldogs would get off on you, so you had to get off first. So it was North, South, and Bulldogs, and everybody hated each other. There was respect, but there was a lot of disrespect as well. You knew on every single line movement, somebody was going to take flight. 1,000,000%. It's just the way it was. If there was 4 Bulldogs on a compa, there was 4 Bulldogs getting off on them, right? That's just how it was. So, anyways, I did about 9 months there before my program came up, okay? So I had a drug program. And let me explain to you why I had a drug program. Was I a fucking drug addict? Absolutely not. I was too little to even indulge like that when I went to C.Y.A, right? I was young. But what had happened was, backtrack to NRCC, the reception. My celly at the time, Little Inez de Fresno, this is when Bulldogs still were Norteños, right? He was a homie. He was telling me, hey, bro, just tell him you have a drug problem and they're going to send you to Owacha, which was for the youngsters. I was young. I figured, hey, if I tell them I have a drug program, it's going to get me less time. I do their little rinky-dink program. I kick it with all the homies. It's going to be like camp, right? All good. Shit. They sent me to Nellis, and from there, their little bullshit-ass drug programs they had on Madison and Kennedy, which were the compas down there, it didn't quite work out well for the fella, right? So now I go through Preston, everything's smooth. I'm thinking, okay, drug program doesn't disappear. One day I get rolled up. They're telling me, hey, roll your shit up. You're going to transpack. You're transferring to Holton, which is a drug facility. The whole Y.A. had flipped to becoming a drug program. And when I say drug program in Y.A., it's not like you go there to AA meetings and, hey, grant me the serenity, I beg of you. It's not none of that. It's these fucking thin-ass packets that the cops just throw on your bunk and do them if you want to do them. If not, fuck you, right? And that's pretty much what it was. But the whole facility was supposed to be a drug program. So just being there, I guess in itself, mean you participated in the program. They had little classes and shit that you were obligated to go to. I'm not going to lie. I don't even remember going to any of those, to be honest with you. But it was what it was, right? So we're on a compa called Mono Hall. Now, the way it is in Carl Holton is you have two compas, two buildings, right? That are connected through a chow hall. There's a chow hall in the middle. So it's a common chow hall. So we'll go to the chow hall, and then when we're done, the other compa will go to the chow hall. They had a yard that was like from their back door, there was their yard. From our front door was our yard. So we were constantly kept separated from this other building. But even within your buildings, there was A side and B side. So there was a control tower in the middle, day room, control tower, and then there was a wall, right? That split the latrine area, which was the bathrooms. A side was one side, B side was one side. So you could have homeboys in your same building and really not get to see them only in the school area or whatever. Sometimes they'd keep the door open and people would walk back and forth, but for the most part, you were kept separated, right? They didn't segregate north and south. Everybody was mixed up. Everybody was there. I remember in Carl Holton, there wasn't too many incidences between north and south, just based on that. It was like a programming place. Everybody was just trying to do their time and get the fuck on. Everyone there was short timing. There wasn't no one there with longer than 5 years left on their sentence. Usually by the time you got to Carl Holton, you'd already been other places. So you were seasoned enough and already went through the guerra. There was fighting. You know, I got into it, a few incidences. I'm going to tell you about one in particular. Two, that I got involved in. They tried to sell me up with the Southsider, or they did sell me up with the Southsider, man. And, we just had to fight for the weekend. That was a weekend vacation. And quietly as it's kept, after so many fights, we sat down and played dominoes and cards, man, because we were tired of fighting. And there was nothing more we could do. And then on Monday, when the senior, which was like the main counselor, came in, I remember him walking in, his name was Sandoval. He walked in, he goes, "What the fuck is this? North and South celled up?" We were like, shit. He was like, "One of you guys is going to have to come out of that cell." We both refused. There wasn't no way we were going to let the other guy stay in the cell. That was like a cowardice act, right? So he was like, "Well, I'll kick you guys both out." Okay, we can get down with that. But neither one of us was going to fucking put our head down and bow down and get out of there, right? Anyways, there was another incident where a guy from Pomona 12th Street Sharks had pulled up. This particular guy, when I was in Nellis, man, I couldn't stand him, right? And I got along with all the Pomona 12th Streeters for some reason. Shout out to Negro, man. That was my boy, man. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. That dude was funny. He was cool. He's on death row right now. Ultimately, he caught a whole bunch of cases, and I seen that coming, right? He was savvy. He was a writer about his business. But his homeboy, one of his homeboys, I'm not even going to say his name, was a thorn in my side when I was in Nellis, man. Didn't like me for whatever reason. And during a melee, man, allegedly, supposedly, he stuck me right. I remember the homeboy Soldier Boy from 6th Street pulled a piece out of under my arm and said, "Hey, fool, you got stabbed." I didn't even feel it because it barely went in like this much. It was a little ice pick, right? But I always wanted to catch up with him, catch up with his program. He ended up going, and from that riot, he went to Nixon, which was like the shoe for Southsiders, right? So I never seen him again until up north, and he pulls up in Preston. And of course, come on, bro, we need to hit that cell one time for my mind. And it's raccoon time, right? He came out looking like Justin Bieber after a P. Diddy party, right? Bam, only no Diddy. He had the raccoon eyes. So that was that. So really, there was really not too many north-south incidences. They were isolated. There was more so incidences with the Bulldogs, things that happened. And it was what it was. So anyways, let me tell you about what happened. About the homie putting his boots on and what happened. So again, like I said, the dorms were split up. So what they do is they do shower time for A side, then shower time for B side. So the way it went was there was a tall wall and a short wall. There was single bunks along one side of the wall. And these were for fuck ups and people that they didn't want to put like in the back. A lot of J-Cats, Levas would be in the front just because the cops, the control tower wanted to be able to keep their eyes on them. Okay, and then sometimes you'd be right there in the front because you were a knucklehead, right? You were always fucking up. So one of the homeboys that tended to fuck up, he had a big mouth, right? He liked to talk back to the cops. They always kept him in the front area. And then there was a homosexual, okay, named Tony G. I'll never forget, that slept in the very first bunk. No matter where he went, he always slept in the first bunk because he was one of them flamboyant dudes. Very flamboyant. Could nobody stand him. He had a big mouth. He'll tell on you right in front of you. I mean, if you touched him, man, the cops protected him like it was crazy, right? I just remember that. I remember thinking to myself as I got older, like, why didn't we just kill that dude, right? You know what I mean? Allegedly. But that was just my thinking back then. Didn't like him. Very flamboyant. Just too, I have nothing against gay people, but man, there's guys that just go out of the extra. They're just put too much salsa on it, right? Way too much Diddy shit going on there. Way too much Justin Bieber at the bar with Odell Beckham shit going on. So anyways, that's just the way the youth authority was. Wasn't too many flamboyant motherfuckers, but this guy definitely was. So I remember this day, it was shower time, right? And prior to that day, this homosexual guy, right, would go to shower and he would come out with just a towel around his waist. Now, most homeboys, we showered with our boxers on. We'd clean our boxers in the shower. You always got to roll. Every day, every shower, you got to roll, right? So you can switch your shit out. You didn't necessarily have to wash your shit, but we would we would shower with our boxers on. And then, we'd take them off and we'd wrap our towel around us. Under our towel, we'd take our boxers off. We never wanted to show ourselves off. It just was kind of like the politics there. We just didn't do it, north and south. Just wasn't a thing, man. Blacks didn't do it, whites didn't do it. No one did it. But of course, that homosexual was different, right? So, about 3 or 4 days before this incident took place, this dude would come out of the shower all the time. And he would drop his towel right there by his bunk in the day room in front of everybody. Or not the day room, but the dorm in front of everybody. God and everybody, right? And this motherfucker wasn't worth more than a Chinese nickel. I'm telling you right now, he'd drop his shit and he'd be bending over in front of people and putting on lotion and the Jergens or whatever he was putting on, the cocoa butter. And dudes would be like, you'll be shocked. You'll be getting dressed out, you're doing your thing, putting your little lotion, your little baby powder on your feet. And all of a sudden, this motherfucker, you look over there and there's a big old black ass, right? He was a black dude. Come on, bro. Fools would be like, hey, man, have some respect, bro. Put your fucking clothes on, weirdo, right? But this fool liked to antagonize people. This was his way of, I guess, talking shit or doing what he was doing. I guess he felt more womanized about himself. So anyways, the homeboy that I said had a big mouth because he used to talk shit slept right next to this dude. The bunks were sideways. So his bunk was like this. His bunk was like this. So the homeboy told him, hey, look, bro, I ain't the fucking one, bro. You don't know me. You're going to put some clothes on around this camp or I'm going to do something bad to you. It ain't something bad that you want to happen, right? So, of course, the gay dude was kind of like, whatever. They had words. I remember having a junta and we're telling the homeboy, hey, bro, this shit ain't going to fly. Next time this fool does some weird shit like this, bro, we're going to have to do something bad to him because this is disrespectful. And even the Southsiders came up to us. They were like, hey, what's up with that dude? Like, I don't know, bro. You guys want to handle this shit? That's better for us. They were like, man, I don't know, bro, but that's just disrespectful. And we're like, nah, we feel it. We feel it. Don't trip. It ain't gonna last too much longer. So it was a couple more shower times. And the next time the guy didn't do shit because he knew better. He came out with his boxers on, whatever. Everybody was waiting. I remember motherfuckers had battery packs. That's one thing about the youth authority. See, it never happened in prison. In prison, you weren't going to see battery packs unless it was like something happened in the cell. I heard that a fool got like packed out. But in the youth authority, that was like the weapon of choice. Wasn't too many people in the youth authority stabbing people. It happened, but it didn't happen like you would think it happened. More so, you were getting packed out, right? People would take their socks and they'd either put their lock in the sock, rocks, soap, batteries, whatever was hard, tie it down real tight, put a knot at the end of it. And man, you got hit in the head with that shit. I still got lumps on my shit, right? That shit hurts. That soap would knock you out because it was so solid. Them locks will split your whole shit. I seen dudes get hit one time, split their whole wig back, right? So it wasn't nothing for a whole bunch of people to pack you out. That was, like I said, the weapon of choice. So I remember that day, north and south, everybody had their packs ready because if this dude was going to do this shit, people were going to pack his ass out. He didn't do it. He came out with his boxers and I remember everybody was waiting like, come on, motherfucker, test these waters and see if you don't get bit by a shark. Nope. He knew better, so he did better, right? So it was about 2 showers later. This was the day of reckoning for this guy, right? We had kind of forgot about him because he'd been acting right, not as flamboyant. And like maybe, okay, look, let me tell you about 2 days prior to this incident taking place, what had happened was on the late night, we do a thing called night crawl. People would fucking slither over to other bunks and go smoke and whatever. And the night man, depending upon the night person, whoever the night person was, the night lady or the night man. Well, there was a particular night man who was a connect. I'm not going to say his name. This is way back in the, I don't even know if he's still alive, right? But he was a connect, meaning he was bringing shit in for gente, right? One of the homeboys, Creeper from Hanas, he had it sewed up with this cat. He was a weirdo. He was a kind of a weirdo dude. But he would look out, right? And so what would happen was about 1 or 2 in the morning, they'd put a list of names. And everybody who was on that list had mail the next morning. So you go right when you woke up to get, wash your face, brush your teeth, you go look at the list. There'd be a whole bunch of disappointed ass cats. I was always disappointed, right? But you look at the list, and if your name's on there, you walk right up to the office. You'd be like, hey, I got mail. They'll dig through the pile, hand you your letters, right? A lot of the homeboys would go 1, 2 in the morning, wake up out of a dead sleep, go look. And if the nightman was cool, it was that one dude, he'd forward them their mail right off the top. So you see hella homies or Southsiders, everybody reading their mail like 1 or 2 in the morning with fucking all happy because their old lady fucking sent them a fuck flick, right? So I remember me and Creeps were smoking, and I was like, and I even tripped that dude Tony G, the homosexual, wasn't in his bunk. Like, ain't no one fucking pocket watching that dude. No one cares what he's doing, right? He just better not act weird or he'll get beat up. So we're smoking, and I'm like, hey bro, I'm gonna go see if I got mail. I knew damn well I didn't have no mail, but it just gave me an excuse to get up. So of course I get up to go look at the list. And when I went to go look at the list, man, what I seen popped my eye out of my head like fucking Dub's dog, right? This homosexual was in there doing something strange for a piece of change, right? And that youth counselor was in there. You guys get the picture? Okay, I ain't even gonna explain it or go into detail, man. Like I said, it was Bieber, Odell Beckhamish, right? It was something weird was going on there. Only Usher and P. Diddy and them know that type of shit, right? So I was like, wow, right? Did I just see what I seen? So I ran back to my bunk. I told homeboy Creeper, hey, they're in there doing some wild shit. Some crazy shit. He was like, no way, yeah. So the next day I got at the counselor immediately like, hey, bro, I know, I synced what I synced, right? He was like, oh no, you're full of shit. I said, okay, well if I'm full of shit, then I guess there ain't gonna be a big old taco truck burrito under my motherfucking pillow when I get back from school, right? That's what it is, right? Little blackmail. And sure enough, what do you want, green or red salsa? You know what I mean? So that let me know, man. I know what I've seen, right? So whatever. Next day, shower time, right? And now I had told all the homeboys this disgusting shit. They're all like, damn, we're going to work this in our favor. But damn, that was a disgusting bastard, right? Yeah, whatever. This homosexual goes to the shower. And now he's the talk of the town now because everyone's seen what they seen, right? Or I seen what I seen and everyone's talking about it. But we're trying to keep it low key just amongst each other. Well, this dude comes out of the shower. And I don't know if he was feeling like pressure or he just thought like we forgot. But this fool drops his fucking towel and he's over there bending over butt naked putting lotion on. Now the homeboy had already told him. The homeboy was from Stockton, right? I'm not going to say his name, but he was from Stockton. He had told him already about that shit. So the homeboy's like, okay, all right, you want to play with me? You want to play with me? Right? All right. So if you see right here in the monitor, those are the state boots that we used to get in the youth authority and in prison, right? But in the youth authority, man, I remember those were hard to come by at this particular time. They'd stop giving them out. The only places you can get them, I don't know if you got them like in Chad or YTS. I'm sure you did in TS. But in Preston, they would give them to you, right? They started getting these generic ones that were like black. And they were like more plasticky. But these ones, man, they actually had wood bottoms that you had to nail into them. They had like you used to get the leather. If you could look right there, right? The leather, you'd sand that leather down with sandpaper. It'd bring them out. Cherry tip them, right? We'd fucking polish the tips. They sold polish on Canteen. You could cherry tip the shit out of your boots. And man, them motherfuckers are clean with some creased up state pants going to visita. Man, and so there'd be like one pair of boots for all the homies and we'd be sharing them. You had to hide them because every time the black guys hit your bunks or hit your cells, they'd fucking snatch them up because the CDC or the youth authority, the administration was trying to get rid of those boots. Not only were they dangerous, they just were trying to get rid of them now. And just put everyone on bubble gums, Bob Barker's, right? Don't step on my Bob Barker's, right? What'd that fucking dude, Ferrero say? He said, man, rock and roll gangster, don't step on my PIAs, motherfucker. All right? So they were trying to give us the PIA industry shit. But those boots were still floating around. Well, the homeboy, he had a pair of those boots, right? For visita. So when this homosexual's bending over in front of him, I mean, butt naked, right? He threw his towel out. He's doing yoga right there, right? He's on his Richard Simmons shit. The homeboy decided to do something crazy. Something I had never seen before and I probably will never see again. Hopefully not, right? The homeboy fucking throws on his boxers, puts on his shorts, boom. And I can see he's getting dressed fast, and I'm like, oh, it's about to go down. I'm thinking he's going to plaquear this fool. He's just going to crack him, right? Then all of a sudden he grabs his boots, his state boots, out of his locker, and he starts to put them on. Bam, right? And I remember the homeboy, one of the homeboys is like, oh, fool, he's about to get off. I'm like, hey, I'm going to get off too. If he gets off, I'm getting off. I don't give a fuck, right? Right when he rushes, I'm rushing too. We're going to stomp this fucking dude out, right? This dude's disrespecting. And I remember this little Southsider from San Diego. He comes walking by out the shower, and he was like, hey, let's get off. And I was like, fuck it, let's get off then, right? And I remember thinking was he talking to me like, let's fight? And then he kind of like nods over there like we're going to participate too. So little did this homosexual know, man, he was in trouble, right? He was in worse trouble. So as he's bending over, fucking grabbing his ankle bone, the homeboy ties his boots, right? And man, what proceeds to happen, I'll never forget. This dude is bent over, spread it, right? Squat and cough, right? He's doing the squat and cough. And the homeboy leans back like Fat Joe. Boom! Kicks him so hard in his asshole, rips one of his whole cheeks off. Facts. Or didn't fall off, you know what I mean? But it ripped apart. Sangre spread everywhere, butt juice and blood everywhere. I was like, oh shit, right? What is that? Right? The Southsider's like, fuck you, shit. Right? Hey. That's the only fucking sound I can make. Or hang, hang, hang. He got to stomping his shit, right? I was so shocked, I didn't jump in. I was like, there's nothing more I can do. You know, this guy got, his ass cheek is over there now, right? It's all bad. The South, where everyone's shy, everyone's doing good. At the end of their bunks, kill him, right? This motherfucker's just boom, boom, stomping his head. The same cop that was getting chopped up the night before comes running, or a couple nights before comes running out. Stop it! He's trying to tackle the homeboy, mace him. The homosexual is like in shock, right? So, you see a lot of crazy shit in the youth authority. That was probably, out of every incident I seen another crazy thing that happened right there. Shit, right in the latrine area, right after, right? But probably about a month later. But that was probably the craziest thing. They took the homeboy and they shipped him out to the oil, and then because the oil was on Yuba Hall, that's where the oil was in Holton, and immediately they shipped his ass to Chad. The homosexual, they took him to the infirmary. He was gone. I don't even know where he went. No one cared, right? But yeah, he got his whole ass cheek knocked off straight up. It's real life over there, right? Now I catch up with the homeboy years later, and here's the thing. Here's a fun fact that would trip you out. We had the same last name. My last name is very unique. Not a lot of people have it, right? It's actually, I've seen more Filipinos with my last name than Mexicanos, right? Always trip me out. I wonder if we're fucking Asian, right? But, honest to God's truth, one day, I hear that my name, and I go up to the podium thinking it's me, and it was the homeboy that did that shit. He had the same last name. Come to find out, we shared the same grandfather. My grandfather had got remarried after, they had me, my grandma, and the other kids. He ended up moving to Stockton and having another family, and this was one of his grandsons. And it was a trip, right? Anyways, or maybe he came first and then I came. I think I came after. I was the second marriage or whatever. Whatever it was, that was my grandfather's grandson. So we were actually primos, long-lost relatives, right? But we didn't treat each other like that. We always tripped out on it. So this fool, it's years later. And wherever his life took him is wherever my life took me. We're doing our thing. And I'm in I'm in DVI, Tracy Prison. I'm now a prisoner, you know. It is what it is. And in and I was active at that time. I was on H Wing, and we were out in the yard. And I'm not gonna lie, man. At that time, I had a position within the household, which in the COC, which was called yard security, which ain't no fucking big deal, man. I'm not gonna say it like I was some shot caller. I was in charge of the yard, meaning not like, oh, I'm the shot caller of the yard, meaning if anything fucking happens on the yard, it's my ass, right? So I was in charge of putting the homeboys in position for posted, like, hey, homies, you guys post right here, you post right there, and kind of keeping track of what's going on the yard. And if anything goes down, man, I have to make a split decision, like, hey, let's get off or whatever, right? And I thought I was all big and bad because I had a position, like I was tough. So anyways, as I'm walking out of the building, again, man, these buildings are big. You see the roster, people's names, but everyone has TNs. So I don't recognize his name on the roster, like from what we called ourselves in the youth authority, right? We're all going under different names and shit. So I happened to see him in an OG, and he already had got a wheelot saying, because you get wheelot saying, hey, you got to post up here, you post up there. So he already knows he has to post up him in a celly. And as I walk by, I'm like, what's up, bro? I call him his old name from Y.A. He was like, damn, fool, what's up? We shake biceps. What's up, brother? Right, it's been a minute. He's like, the fuck you doing? Shit, same thing as you're doing, right? And so I'm like, hey, bro, just post up right here and I'll get at you, you know what I mean? In a little bit, when your post is relieved, come get at me. I'm going to be over here by the bars with the homies. He's like, yeah. And so his celly looks at me. He's like, OG. He's like, what the fuck you mean post, bro? And I look at him like, what? And he's like, yeah, bro, who are you? And the homeboy kind of sees my eyes. I'm like, oh, shit, you want to go against the grain, fella, right? And the homeboy kind of looks at me and knows. And so he's like, nah, bro, it's good. It's good. I'll give you the rundown right now. He's basically going to let them know, hey, that's the yard security right there, bro. It's all good, right? And I'm skinny, sucked up, ugly with an afro, right? And the homeboys fucking are both bigger than me. But it just is what it is. The position I was put in, I was all happy and shit. Anyways, we end up catching up with each other, man. He ended up, he was just doing a violation. He gets out and he tells me, man, they end up charging him with that case. He ended up pitching up an assault and going to prison, catching an M number off that. But shit happened in Y.A.'s, man. So that was one of the most crazy incidents I ever seen. It was crazy. The homosexual got his whole ass cheek knocked out. Yeah, he got his somebody rocking, knocking them boots. Them state boots were dangerous. With that being said, man, I got another banger coming this afternoon on this channel and on the other channel. Make sure you guys tap in, man. Gunners Collective TV, the Collective Clips. We're on fire. We're dropping heat. You know what it is, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. It's all true. It's all facts. It really happened, man. Crazy shit in the youth authority. I could tell you stories all day, man, but a lot of people don't even want to hear them. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I honestly and truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. I'm not trying to glorify this bullshit, right? Or hate on anyone. I'm just telling you facts and what really happened, man. It was crazy. The gun. Bang, bang.